What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Adonis podcast. I got a surprise guest on here today, Mr. Anonymous. How are you today?
I'm doing all right. How you doing, Adonis?
Pretty good. So, before we get started, I was going to tell the audience a story that happened the other day, and I kind of want your commentary on it.
Okay.
All right, so Mr. Anonymous, he's known me for quite some time now, and you've seen the motorbike that I ride around a lot. I often, and the audience knows this, I often ride it around sometimes just for fun, not necessarily because I need to go somewhere. So the other day I'm riding through college town, some girl walks into the street right in front of me, shoves me right in the arm and goes, "Give me a ride." So I turned around and took off. I kid you not, I did like this Fast and Furious turnaround, took off. And as I'm leaving, I hear the girl yelling, "What the fuck?" She's like, "Okay, well, you're a loser anyway." And as I'm leaving the scene, I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, yep, that's exactly why I didn't want to talk to you, and that's exactly why I stopped talking to a majority of women, because most women act like that. Now, I made a post about this afterwards. This is what I said. I said, "People claim I'm dangerous, yet the facts continue to prove otherwise. Last night, a girl came up to me and asked me for a ride. Must have not felt endangered by me. Next time a girl wants a ride from me, I'm gonna let her, drive her to the furthest graveyard, and leave her stranded there."
Oh. Wow.
So I also...
that escalated rather quickly.
Well, and the scary thing is I actually go to graveyards regularly, so I know exactly how to get to the furthest graveyard without a GPS.
Okay, well, I'm not going to ask why you know where the nearest graveyard is, but okay, moving along.
So I went on to say, last night was a perfect example of modern women today. The stereotypes don't make themselves. A smart girl would have never asked me for a ride. I'm a stranger. I could have kidnapped her if I wanted to. How would she know? And a nice...
Maybe she wanted to be kidnapped. You know, a lot of girls, it's my understanding from the internet and people's conversations, that a lot of girls actually have this weird fantasy that they want to be kidnapped.
Yeah, either that or raped. You know, you hear girls all the time saying, "Oh my God, I hope I don't get raped," and rape this and rape that. And like they talk about it so much. And it makes me think, I'm like, do you secretly want to get raped? Why do you like, I don't go out and say to myself, "Oh, I hope I don't get killed. I hope no one stabs me. I hope, like, no, I just go out and, you know, I don't expect it to happen." If these girls really felt endangered, if these girls really felt like they were in danger of getting kidnapped or raped, they would not be walking around by themselves at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning with their booty shorts and their boots and their crop tops.
Yeah, doesn't add up, doesn't equal good math.
Yeah, but this is what else I said. I said a nice girl would have politely asked for a ride, not demand one, and then lose her shit when rejected. There are nice girls out there, but they're rare. There is a girl that I spoke about before. She can look at my posts and she can tell whether or not I'm being serious or joking. She also understands when I'm simply saying an opinion. It's not me trying to launch an attack on someone. It's simply me stating an opinion. Because unlike most women in this generation, she actually has the emotional intelligence and maturity most women now lack. There are others like her as well. And I don't talk to a lot of people in general, but the women like that, unfortunately, they're very few and far between. But women like that, I'll tolerate. You reap what you sow, and this is the final thing I said. Girls will do something like demand a ride, then call you a loser. Keep in mind, she's the one on foot. She's the one who needs a ride. I said no because she's a stranger and she's rude. She called me a loser for rejecting her. They're arrogant and they're dumb, and that's why they stay single, because these girls are gorgeous. There's no reason why they should be single. Why should they should have a hard time finding and keeping a man. They're single because bad men take advantage of their stupidity, and good men get turned off by their arrogance. People like myself who actually see past the beauty and want someone with a quality personality, we see the way they act and we go, "Nope, I'm not dealing with that."
Yeah. Well, a lot of them don't even have beauty anymore. I always say you can't be fat, ugly, and stupid with a bad attitude. Baby girl, you got to work on one of them.
Yeah, there are a lot of girls. I would argue that Florida State isn't one of those places. Florida State has a lot of attractive women, but there are some women that are not attractive that do live here, and there are other women in other parts of the world who are not attractive at all, whether they just don't have the genes for it, or because they're fat, or because they're black, and they act like they're these gorgeous supermodels and they're not. And I think the big reason for that is platforms like Pornhubs and OnlyFans. People get addicted to it, and then what happens is we get these simps. All these women on OnlyFans claim that they're entrepreneurs because they sell their pussies online, and they claim, oh, I don't need a man, I pay for my own bills, I bought my first mansion at 21 from selling OnlyFans. Okay, well, who bought the OnlyFans? The simp.
Yeah, men.
Yeah, the simpy men pay for your OnlyFans, because I've never heard of a woman buying another woman's OnlyFans subscription.
Yeah, it's very rare. It's either, lesbian or in support of or whatever, some sort of fetish. But majority of it are the men that they say they don't need. And they say, oh, I don't need these men. But yet, yeah, you do, because your entrepreneurial spirit is actually based on nothing but accept another man's weird fetish, and you suck money from simp cuck boys, and that's the way you're making money. So yeah, you need the men for that. It's not a normal form of enterprise or commerce. It's a very weird kind of, I don't know, I guess you could say it's one of the oldest jobs, or, I can't think of the word, oldest professions of all time, which is prostitution. But now they don't even have the thing of going out and actually being a prostitute and working and hustling and, risking their lives. Now they just sit in their bedroom with a camera and they make money. And it's crazy now because, I don't subscribe to it or look at it, but from people that tell me stuff and know people, a lot of these girls are fat, dirty, and disgusting, and people are still paying them. And I don't get it, man. I really don't get it. But, yeah, so you had mentioned before about some stuff, some going-ons with the clubs and things like that, and just, because of limited time for some other interviews I got to do, I just figured maybe we could, talk about those topics.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because you've known me for some time now. I think actually you were one of the first people I met when I came to Tallahassee, so you kind of saw the decline, how I went from being a nobody to being popular and liked to where we are now, where almost nobody likes me, and I don't even know why they don't like me, they just don't like me. And it's, as you put it, from famous to infamous. Because I was famous before for what? I don't even know why, and now I'm infamous where I'm famous but for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, I'd say that you're the textbook definition of famous to infamous, because you have this New York rise to fame where, you were on Barstool Sports, you were on ESPN, you were on different FSU Instagram, IG. I can recall seeing viral videos of you, everybody Snapchat, whatever things may be. I'm not on all these platforms, but people would show them to me. They'd say, oh, this Adonis kid, and it's, you were fairly viral. I think other campuses even that we played in football, such as Clemson and the Gators, they maybe saw you on their things too during football season, but then you, through some, misfortunes, misgivings, whatever, you now have risen to a different level, or dropped, I don't know what you would consider it, and that is now you are the infamous Adonis Risner.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. And, I tried to figure out for a long time why it was happening, and I just gave up. Me and my friend did a test once, so there's this platform called Yik Yak where everyone's anonymous. And that's where a lot of people would go to talk shit about me or spread rumors, because how convenient is it that everyone's anonymous, therefore you can never get caught for saying what you're saying? And me and my friends, we would go on there and we would try to figure out, like, okay, well, what did I do that pissed everyone off? Every single person that we asked, why do you hate Adonis? Like, okay, we get it. Let's pretend we hate Adonis too. But why do we hate him? And they couldn't give you an answer. And we were talking about this the other day, me and my friend, and we were like, it's kind of like liberals versus Trump, liberals constantly whine that they hate Trump, that they hate conservatives, they hate this, but then you ask them why, and they can't even tell you why. Like, there's a protest coming up on October 13th. I was posting about this on my Instagram too. Some liberals, old ladies, mind you, 70, 80 years old, they're telling me, oh, come to this protest at the Capitol. We're doing another No Kings protest. We haven't had a king ruling this country since like 1776. So what's the point of this protest? No one can tell me what the point of this protest is. And these are like old ladies. I'm like, you guys are going to be dead by the time Trump is out of office because you're old. Instead of standing in the sun, sweating your balls off, go home, go hang out with your grandkids, go hang out with your cats, go catch up on your favorite TV shows, because you're going to fucking die soon because it's natural because you're old.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I just passed a guy waiting at a stoplight taking up the whole lane on a major road, major highway, on a bicycle wearing a mask across almost 2/3 of his face. And he's out in perfect weather outside. I guess he's afraid that the fresh oxygen air is going to get him. I don't know. It's a weird mentality that people have.
Yeah, people still think, listen, did they even tell us when the pandemic ended? I don't think they ever officially told us when this fake pandemic ended. I think people kind of just were like, this is bullshit, and we're tired of being locked up in our homes, and everyone kind of just started going outside and then just stopped paying attention to all the COVID news. Because I cannot remember a single headline stating COVID-19 has officially ended.
No, they never said it ended, because when you imprison someone mentally, you don't want to let them out of that prison. But as a matter of fact, not only did they not say that it never ended officially, they said that you need to keep up with your vaccines, and more variants are spreading and getting worse, and various things like that. So they try to keep the regular 6 o'clock CBS, 80-year-old CBS viewers in this prison in fear. So no, they never ended it because they don't want to lose that grip of fear that they have on people.
I would argue that they already have lost their grip, because the only people, listen, I remember when everyone was in masks everywhere you went, and you would get kicked out of Walmart if you went into Walmart without a mask or if you took your mask off. I think the only people that they still have a grip on are people that nobody listens to anyway, like the old cat ladies. The same ladies that are trying to convince me to go to this protest are the same ladies who are wearing masks in their own car because they believe COVID still exists. And they're like, oh, I don't want to die. You're going to die anyway because you're old. Here's another ironic thing. The protest is from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Who the fuck wants to wake up that early to go to a protest in the hot Florida sun?
Yeah, especially about stuff that's not even, it's like this insane world they live in their head. Yeah, I agree. Definitely not something worth protesting over. There are things, but that is definitely not one of them.
Yeah, I think protesting is pointless in general, because no matter what you're protesting, all you're doing is annoying people and blocking traffic. I can't tell you the amount of times I've gone down there, and whether I was trying to use the road or the sidewalk, I can't get by because these protesters cross the streets. And they're disrespectful, they're loud, they're mad at people like me because, oh, you're shoving your opinions down your throat. All I'm doing is making a podcast that you can choose to listen to or not listen to. You're over here standing with signs, shoving signs. This is quite literally the textbook definition of shove my opinions down your throat. And that's why I was so happy when Ron DeSantis said that you could hit a protester with your car if they blocked your vehicle. I was like, yep. I already did do that. There was a day when I was in college, and I told the story before, some dudes ran after my bike, and when I circled back around, they were like standing in the street trying to catch me. And every time I wouldn't stop because I thought they were going to jump me. Why else would a bunch of grown men stand in the street trying to catch me while I'm flying past them at 20 miles per hour? The next day, I'm on my way home, and some of the dudes from that group, they tried to catch me again. This time, they almost blocked me. And I yelled at the dude. I said, I will hit you, move. He jumped out of the way, and I sped off. And some people might argue that that's not right. I'm like, listen, I don't know these guys. I don't know what they want. It's the middle of the night. A bunch of grown men are chasing another grown man, which is me. Naturally, I assume that they're trying to jump me. And that's considering that people have tried to hurt me before, and considering I'm actually surprised that I haven't been jumped for the things that I say online. So I say my
jumped.
What?
I seem to recall a time that you did kind of get almost jumped.
When was that?
I think there was a time 4 or 5 years ago. I remember a group of guys kind of tried to set you up, and I don't know if they. I think didn't they jump on you? And wasn't there a couple of them? And didn't one of them like hit you in the eye, and you were starting to fight, and they all kind of just surrounded you?
Yeah, you're talking about Sidhu. That was years before I started the podcast. See, Sidhu went through a lot of shit because that was back when everyone still liked me, and so he, or at least this is what I was told, he got trespassed from Recess, Warehouse, and Clyde's, because they're all owned by the same company. But he got trespassed. A bunch of people like messaged him on Instagram. I was told that he deleted his Instagram account because basically the whole city was DMing me like, because this guy, and I still will argue what he did was wrong. This guy went out of his way to figure out where I lived, came to my house, and then jumped me in the middle of the night. Now, if he did the same thing to me today, people would probably cheer him on and view him as a hero because I am somehow now the bad guy, even though I've never done something as crazy as track someone to their home and jump them in the middle of the night.
Yeah, I mean, that's, there's a lot of people I know personally that if they track somebody down and come to their home, he might not have, lived to die another day. I'll just say that because that's some very scary stuff to track somebody down like that and just to be a psychopath and try to jump them.
Oh, I'll tell you right now because I'm much older now, and back then I lived with my parents who miraculously monitored everything even though I was legally an adult. And surprise, surprise, I don't talk to them anymore because of the way they were. But back then, life was very different. I'm older now and I've matured a lot more now. And now I have an arsenal of weapons in my apartment, so if anyone tries that shit again, they're quite literally going to get shot or stabbed to death. And I think that's a big reason why it hasn't happened, because people know that I don't fuck around like that.
You mean you don't plan these things? You mean in self-defense, right?
Yeah, of course. Well, I mean, I'm not going to go out into the city. Even though some people claim that I'm going to do this, I'm not going to go out to the city and start going all Michael Myers on people. But
right,
if someone...
You're saying that, all you're ultimately saying is you would just defend yourself at all costs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I get that. I'm the same way as far as wanting to keep my life and not wanting to get murdered by people. Hey, listen, I need to take a quick break. Let me call you back so that I can take a quick break.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, I'll call you back.
Sounds good. Alright, so something I want to talk about today is everything that's happening in the new DC universe. James Gunn, Superman, Peacemaker, etc. So, James Gunn has been with DC for quite a while. He directed the sequel to The Suicide Squad, this is the thing, the first Suicide Squad, which y'all have heard of with Will Smith and Margot Robbie, was simply called Suicide Squad. The second Suicide Squad was then called The Suicide Squad. They should have called it Suicide Squad 2, because that's what it is, instead of simply calling it The Suicide. I'm sorry, putting the word The in front of it, it's basically the same fucking title. The second Suicide Squad, and I will always refer to it as Suicide Squad 2. Suicide Squad 2 was excellent. It was very gory, great choreography, great casting, it was great in general. James Gunn also directed the first season of Peacemaker, which takes place within the Snyderverse. And he also directed the animated adult show, Creature Commandos. As you know, there was a bunch of controversy surrounding Snyder. Mostly people were not happy with his version of Superman and other characters because they felt that it wasn't true to the comics. So DC and Warner Brothers removed him and made James Gunn the new CEO. this happened after James Gunn got fired from Disney and Marvel. James Gunn had already directed all 3 Guardians of the Galaxy movies. And I think he did a couple other Marvel projects. Apparently, from what I heard, he got fired after making Nazi jokes on Twitter or something like that. I don't really follow these Hollywood elites on social media, so I don't really know everything that's going on in their day-to-day life or everything they post. But it doesn't surprise me that Disney would fire someone who makes an innocent joke like that. Crazy enough how you can make a joke or whatever, use vulgar language, and Disney will fire you for it, but that same company made Marvel and Star Wars woke, ran their classics into the ground, and they have fucking pedophiles working for them. Once James Gunn was made the new CEO of the DC Universe, he basically took half the Marvel cast with him, and he has directed the new Superman movie, which is excellent. And he also directed the ongoing second season of Peacemaker, which is still ongoing and takes place in the new DC universe with this new version of Superman. Now, while Peacemaker and Superman do exist in the same universe, they're both very different characters, so they're very different shows. Superman is the country boy who grew up in Kansas and is kind to everyone and is quite literally the definition of kill them with kindness. While Peacemaker, ironic his name is Peacemaker, he is actually one of the most violent characters in the entire DC universe. His whole theory is that you have to be, in order to be peaceful, you have to be capable of violence, which is technically true in a sense, because if you don't know how to fight, if you're unwilling to fight, then you're not peaceful, you're just a weakling. A peaceful person has to know how to fight, has to know how to stick up for themselves, has to know how to defend themselves without being a pushover. Knowing how to fight does not mean you go and look for fights or start fights. However, Peacemaker is not the actual definition of an actual peacemaker, and you'll understand what I mean by that if you watch his show. When the Superman movie came out, the liberals attacked it, and after years of conservatives calling the libs retarded and woke and whatnot, the liberals and even Fox News had the audacity to say that the new Superman movie that was coming out was woke. How is it woke? They never really clarified on that, and one thing that they mentioned, though, is the fact that Superman is technically an immigrant because he came from a different planet. So let me get this straight. Y'all have been fighting immigration, saying that we should allow criminals from Mexico into our country, but you're upset over a fictional character who's technically an immigrant, disguised as a U.S. citizen. I watched the movie. I did not think that it was woke at all, not one bit. You know, Superman's always been an immigrant, technically speaking, from his very first comic, as he's technically not someone from Earth. And even if, so technically, yeah, I guess he's not legally supposed to be here, but no superhero follows a law. Batman famously breaks every rule in the book, but The Flash, Wonder Woman, all these guys, technically, when they're fighting bad guys, they or even just taking on day-to-day criminals, they are doing things that the police are supposed to handle. If you or I went into the street, we would quite literally get arrested for it, because depending on how we take out criminals, it could be viewed as aggravated assault, or I'm sure there's other crimes that they could think of that they could place us under, but also it could be described as being a vigilante or vigilantism, which is illegal. There's a reason why there are police officers with badges who are equipped to handle this stuff. So there are very few scenarios where you would legally be allowed to intervene with criminal activity to stop it. So technically speaking, these superheroes are all illegals because a lot of them came from different planets or different countries, and a lot of them constantly get involved in criminal activity. They stop criminals by being criminals themselves. Literally every single superhero does this. Even Superman, even Iron Man, they all do it. And matter of fact, there are plenty of times when the government tries to stop them because technically what they're doing is illegal, but they can never stop them because, well, they're superheroes, they have superpowers. It's hard to catch Spidey when he can swing away and you also don't know who he is. That's why superheroes have secret identities. Someone like Batman, he's one of the hardest. He's the biggest threat in the DC universe. People like Superman and Wonder Woman, they quite literally have powers of gods. You cannot stop them. In the Marvel Universe, it's more common for superheroes like Captain America and Bruce Banner to not have secret identities and everyone knows who they are. And their superhero name is kind of like just their stage name. But they're still impossible to catch. The government famously went after Captain America in Civil War, and we know how that turned out. If you try to take out someone like Bruce Banner, he's quite literally gonna transform into the Hulk. Thor will fucking strike you down with lightning. Like, I want you guys to remember that the government does regularly go after these superheroes. But they never succeed because the superheroes are too powerful. And then there were times when the government takes a break and they really don't do anything because, let's face it, when Darkseid or some giant demonic warlord from another planet comes to invade Earth, the cops can't do anything with their bullets and their tasers. They have no choice but to rely on the superheroes or else we would literally all go extinct. The Democrats are being hypocritical again because for years they've been talking about illegal immigration and it's not a crime even though it's illegal immigration, and not letting criminals into our country is racist, and not letting criminals come into our country and rape our daughters is being a fascist, and this is peak fascism, and we're all Nazis and Hitler supporters. As usual, I ignore everything that the libtards have to say. It actually made me want to watch the movie even more because I'm saying to myself, the movie's not even out yet. If liberals hate it, then I know this is an excellent movie. But I was especially surprised when conservative podcaster Brett Cooper had bad things to say about it as well. So this is what she had to say.
And just so you know who we are dealing with here, this is the same James Gunn who made vulgar jokes about Trump, who compared him to Hitler, and then was fired by Disney because of social media posts about pedophilia and the Holocaust. So obviously we are dealing with a great guy here, for sure. Just wanted to lay out that context and that foundation. Now, clearly, James Gunn did not learn from every other director over the past decade or so that took a classic film that taught traditional, good, wholesome values and turned it into a piece of garbage that no one wanted to see. Because
keep in mind, this is before the Superman movie came out.
here is what we all can look forward to in this movie. Just listen, here we go. A 10-minute scene that just features Clark and Lois talking about geopolitics and whether Superman should have stopped a war. It is exactly how to make a superhero movie to engage adults. I'm sorry, we literally deal with geopolitical debates on a daily basis on the news, on X, on Facebook, on Blue Sky, wherever the frick you are on social media. That basically consumes our brain cells 24/7. The way to engage adults in 2025 is to give them an escape.
Alright, so let me pause that really quick. First of all, Brett Cooper is talking about James Gunn's social media posts. According to her, he's anti-Trump. I don't know if that's true. I don't know what Gunn's political beliefs are. She's saying that Disney fired him because he made posts about pedophilia and Nazis. She was very unspecific about that, though. She did not say what it was exactly that he said. She just said, oh, he was talking about pedophilia, so we know what you're dealing with here. Okay. He could have posted on X, pedophilia and Nazis are bad. Technically speaking, that's a post about pedophilia and Nazis. Knowing how James Gunn is, he was probably speaking against it or making a joke about it. But I don't know because I don't keep up with him on social media. And Cooper is not being very specific about what he posted. So it's really not fair for us to pass judgment simply based on what Cooper's telling us right here. And also the thing about geopolitics, DC has always involved politics in their comics for decades. Actually, I think DC may have been around for over a century. I'm not entirely sure on that. But DC always goes where Marvel doesn't, where Disney doesn't. And that's why I think they're so successful. This is why I prefer DC over Marvel, because they're much more darker, and they can be more realistic. Politics are something that we deal with on a daily basis. So I think putting politics in the movie without making the movie simply about politics is very good and very realistic. Now, there's a difference. There are plenty of movies out there. Disney's an expert of this, of making movies that are simply focused on politics and trying to shove a political message down our throats. But that's not the case with Superman. And another reason why I prefer DC over Marvel is because Marvel went completely woke, and they're still fucking woke, and DC didn't go there. They kind of went there for a minute, but it wasn't really their main focus. Like, I remember the show Supergirl went woke for like a couple seasons, where they made Dreamer Girl a transgender. And yeah, I'm not a fan of that, but it wasn't the main premise of the show. It wasn't so heavily implied that it made me want to turn it off. Like, I could still watch the show, I could still enjoy the show, and even though I don't agree with transgenderism and pride and whatnot, because there were also lesbian couples in Supergirl and also Legends of Tomorrow. Now, Legends of Tomorrow, that show started out great and ended horribly. I didn't even finish Legends because it got so bad. It went from a peak action show to a goofy-ass comedy slapstick. I don't even know what the fuck they were doing. But first of all, Sarah Lance is hot, so I don't mind her being a lesbian. Secondly, having a movie or a show where you have a variety of characters with conflicting views makes it much more interesting and also makes it much more realistic, because we do live in a world where people believe in transgenderism and lesbians exist. And so having that in the show without making it the main focus of the show actually adds a more realistic dynamic to it, which is quite different from what Marvel's doing, where they're quite literally trying to shove it down our throats and trying to force everyone to be like that. Like, you can't just say, hey, if you want to be gay, that's fine. I'm not. I'm straight. But if you want to be gay, if you want to believe in your little fictional reality that transgenderism exists, that's on you. They can't accept the fact. See, liberals can't accept the fact that we have opposing views. They gotta go, oh, so you yourself are not a homosexual male? Well, that automatically makes you homophobic. Sorry, what? Maybe I would listen to gays if they were normal fucking people. But I can't think of a single gay man that's actually an even decently normal person. As someone who's a long-time DC fan and someone who went to see the Superman movie several times in theaters and also at home, I can confidently say that politics were a minor, maybe 2% of the movie they brought up politics. And for context, keep in mind, this is a fictional movie. One fictional country attacked another fictional country. Superman stopped the war. And then people were upset at him because, it's crazy. And this happens in even real life. It happened to me too. Everyone loves you until you get involved in politics. And then people start turning on you. And that's exactly what happened to Superman. Even though he just stopped the war, people were calling him the bad guy. Apparently the country that was ruled by a dictator was an ally of America. Everyone was upset. Superman was like, hey, I don't know why they're fighting. I don't know who's in the right or wrong. I'm just being Superman. I'm just stopping a war because I felt it was the right thing to do, and people were getting hurt, and that's not right. I don't even care why they're fighting. I just didn't want to see people get hurt, and I had the power to fix it, so I fixed it. So in the clip that Brett is about to play for y'all, Lois and Clark get into an argument because Lois, being a reporter and a journalist, she's seeing things from a political viewpoint, while Superman is literally just like, why are you even making this political? I was just using my powers to do good.
You want them to be able to go into a movie theater and get their overpriced bag of AMC popcorn and sit down and just forget about the world for 2.5 hours. Make it like Top Gun or Twisters, where they can escape into a world of heroism and inspiration and patriotism. It doesn't even need to be patriotic. I mean, it's Superman, so it probably should be a little bit patriotic, but give them something to aspire to that is not the real world. Like, I'm sorry, yes, we are engaged in geopolitical debates on social media. That does not mean that that is what we want when we spend $18 or whatever it is to go see an IMAX movie. Like, seriously, like, the cognitive dissonance is insane. Anyway, I haven't even gotten to his quote yet, but he goes on and he says, "It is definitely the most unusual thing that we put in the movie. Yeah, this is a Superman film for the ages of endless discourse, with the difference being that the people, Clark and Lois, who disagree with each other here, are willing to discuss and even perhaps learn. Again, this is too real world. Give me an escape." He says, yes, it is about politics, but on another level, it is about morality. Do you never kill no matter what, which is what Superman believes, or do you have some balance, as Lois believes? It's really about their relationship and the way that different opinions on basic moral beliefs can tear two people apart. Like, guys, that right there is the quickest way to make me not want to see a movie. And I'm not even mad about these themes being covered
Right, you're
in
a
the movie.
faggot.
What he said there at the end is very insightful. That's interesting. That is a very integral part of the human experience, you know, disagreeing with somebody that you have a close relationship with and trying to navigate that and figure that out. And all great works of art have philosophical and moral undertones. That is a net
God,
good
she
thing.
talks too
But
much.
the difference is, most great writers do not tell you that those tones are there. They don't go into this saying, this
Get
is
to
what
the
I
point.
want you
Get
to
to the
take from this.
fucking
This is the
point.
political undertone that I am going to force feed you. It's like a comedian explaining his joke, or a magician
Yeah, you've explained this like
explaining
10
how he did a
times
trick.
already in
Like,
the
we
past
don't
5
need
seconds.
that. Just let it go unsaid. Let the magic and the story
Oh
speak
my
for
God.
itself. That is the problem that I see with most of Hollywood right now, is that they are like hitting you over the head with this gavel of morality and political messaging. Like, just let us enjoy the movie. I really don't care about your ideology. I just want it to be compelling, and I just want to freaking escape. He goes on to say, I mean, Superman is the story of America, an immigrant that came from other places and populated the country, but for me it is mostly a story that says
Populated the country. He's one man.
basic human kindness is a value and is something that we have lost. I ask if he has considered how differently the film might play in, say, a blue state, New York, aka Metropolis, and Kansas, where Kent grew up. Yes, it plays differently, Gunn admits, but it's about human kindness, and obviously there will be jerks out there who are just not kind and will take it as offensive just because it is about kindness, but screw them. And of course, this is a classic thing. We have seen this for years now. If audiences don't like your movie, if they don't get it, they are the problem. They're the bigots. They're backwards. They are not progressive enough. It's not that your movie is objectively bad and didn't reach them. It is that they just aren't ready for it. Like, I'm sorry, but sometimes it is actually just the movie. Now, like I said, all of that came out in February. He has only leaned in more, especially with everything going on with Trump and ICE right now. He is really leaning into the fact that this is an immigrant story that you need to get behind. And he even went so far as to get his family involved, because at the premiere last night, James's brother, who is an actor, Sean Gunn, he is in Gilmore Girls, which obviously I love. I grew up watching Sean Gunn, so this was a painful video to have to consume, but he doubled down on
Wow, you don't even know the fucking guy, and you have a fucking husband and child. This was a painful video to shut the fuck up.
half his brother, and he said this. Take a watch.
It is exactly what the movie is about, I think, that, like, we support our people, you know? We love our immigrants. Yes, Superman is an immigrant, and yes, the people that we support in this country are immigrants, and if you don't like that, then you're not American.
Oh, great. Perfect. Thank you, Sean Gunn. Thank you for that prolific, profound statement. You can
Keep
even
in
see
mind,
in the video,
Sean Gunn is
he's
not
like
the
grasping
director
at straws. He's
of
like,
Superman.
I know I need to make some political statement. My brother's movie isn't really getting the best reviews, so how can I make this as political as possible? You just have to love immigrants, and if you are not loving immigrants, then you're not American. Like, dude, that's not even the point right now. That's not even what is going on in the world right now. Like, most people support legal immigration. We understand that this country was built on the backs of immigrants.
what did
It
he
is
say
made
about- what did he say about
incredible, like, the
illegal
fabric of
immigration, Brett?
in our country? Most everyone agrees with that. But what we do not support, what we are fighting
God,
against,
Skip.
comics and movies on X, but he
And
said
she's still
Superman,
talking about the same thing,
true.
Skip.
No matter how you massage and
Oh
mold
my
in a
God.
real country, especially from cartel and
Jesus
gang
Christ.
members to begin with.
Jesus
if that is what
fucking
you think
Christ.
you're eating clean and you're exercising, well, it might not be because of burnout. It could be because of parasites.
What does this even have to do with the
Research of
movie?
Dr. Alan McDonald revealed
What
a
does this have to
direct
do
link
with the
between
fucking
chronic
movie?
parasitic infections and neurological solution, now combined into one cleanse combo. It's
What
making
the-
it hard to get medications, digitally invigorating your mind with Grand Canyon University. Grand Canyon University, which is based in the
What
beautiful
the?
Phoenix, Arizona.
Alright, I'm not listening to this bullcrap anymore. Brett Cooper does have a lot of good stuff to say, and I do like listening to her podcast because she does share a lot of my views, and I think that she's a good role model for women in this generation, because women in this generation these days are becoming more like Kim Kardashian and Taylor Swift, where they're basically faggots with money. They're basically whores with money, and they think they can treat people however they want to. Brett actually has some common sense. Now, this is where I complain about Brett Cooper. First of all, almost everything she said about the Superman movie was entirely wrong. Keep in mind, this episode came out before Superman did, and she's heavily judging the movie as if she's already seen it. She clearly hasn't seen it. A big problem with Brett is, and I guess this is natural because she's a woman still, she's still a woman, but a lot of times when she is talking about a specific topic, she will often repeat herself. She will talk too much, like she'll literally quite just say the same thing over and over and over again in a different way. And I'm just like, you've already explained yourself 10 times in like 5 seconds, move on. And then she'll get distracted and start to talk about other things that have nothing to do with the whatever topic she's discussing. And she also has too many ads in her commercial. Oh, well, I need the money to run my show. Andrew Tate has 0 ads on his Tate Speech podcast. And he is richer than you will ever be. It's actually easier for a young 23-year-old woman like Brett to get money because, nowadays we live in a society where a woman can sell her armpit on Feet Finder and become a millionaire overnight. Andrew Tate is still richer than you, Brett Cooper. There is no reason whatsoever why you need to have so many ads. There is nothing worse when I'm out for a ride and I'm listening to her podcast and I'm really into the subject and then she blasts me with 2 minutes of some tampon ad. That is ultimately why sometimes I don't even finish her podcast and I go to Tate Speech or Grant Cardone or some of these other podcasts that I listen to. Because this is what I have to critique about her. One, she doesn't thoroughly research what she talks about, which is very obvious in the Superman movie. And despite her being conservative, she's actually being very woke in this episode. She talks way too much. She repeats herself over and over and over again. It's like, all right, we get it. Move on. Like, I'm sorry, I like most of her episodes. That's why I still listen to her podcast. But when I heard that Superman episode, I'm like, I'm sorry, Cooper, but you're a fucking faggot. You're a fucking faggot. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I actually remember when she posted something on TikTok and she goes, this is a last minute Halloween costume. This was like last year. This is a last minute Halloween costume. I didn't know what to wear. So my husband suggested I go as Poison Ivy. I have no idea who that is, but I have a costume. So you know nothing at all about the DC universe. Then maybe you shouldn't make a fucking podcast about it. Well, like I said, she does have some good stuff to say, which is why I still listen to her podcast. Even in the Superman episode alone, she talked about other topics that I agreed with, such as this right here.
But this headline cracked me up. It says, "The Rise of the Woman Sphere. Brett Cooper, Candace Owens, influencing young women to be thin, fertile, and Republican." Like, guys, that's basically a backhanded compliment. You're so angry that I want young women to be thin and fertile. Like, I'm sorry, that's hot. That's just, like, objectively a good thing.
Correct.
Who would not want to be thin and fertile? Like, that's healthy. That's amazing. Like, you guys hate us so much. You hate my values and the way I vote and who I am so much that you would rather die on the hill of being fat and infertile. Like, that's really how you want to go down. Like, I'm so glad that you put that all out there. I'm so glad that you were saying the quiet part out loud. But guys, the articles did not stop there because...
Well, you can go check out the Brett Cooper show on Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast, if you want to listen to the whole thing. But she was correct in all of that. And that's a big problem that we have now. And when a fat man makes fun of the man with a six-pack, or jokes that he's taking steroids or whatever, it's quite literally because the fat man is secretly jealous that he doesn't have the physique and the body of the fit man. He's jealous that he's stuck at home playing video games and he's not getting any bitches because he's broke and he's fat. Much like what Cooper is explaining here, there are these fat libtards who hate Cooper so much for being thin and attractive and Republican that they are now pretending like being fat and ugly is a good thing. So I think Cooper needs to stick to more topics like that. After all, it is a political podcast, so I think she should stick to politics. I think she took the Superman movie way too seriously. At the end of the day, guys, Superman is a fictional character from a comic book. And this is the most comically accurate version of Superman that we've gotten so far. But keep in mind, all the Supermen have things in common. For example, Man of Steel, Superman basically has the same backstory, where he was sent here from another planet after his planet was destroyed. But no one, not even the Snyder haters, are complaining about Superman being an immigrant in Man of Steel. No one's complaining about him being an immigrant in the comics. They're only complaining about James Gunn's version of Superman, as if Superman was a natural-born American man, and then James Gunn decided to rewrite his entire backstory. No, James Gunn literally pulls this all out of comic books. As far as what James Gunn said, I do look at his posts from time to time, and I did follow him pretty closely when Superman was coming out. All I really saw was promotional content, and I did see the articles explaining how the film was about good and kindness, and some people are just not going to get that, and I agree with him on that. Now, here's the difference between DC and Marvel. DC makes a movie saying this is to spread good and kindness, and some people just aren't going to get it because they're not nice people. And Cooper immediately jumps to, oh, so if we don't like that, we're the problem. No, what he said was correct. What is incorrect is when Disney and Marvel put out a show like She-Hulk, and when we don't like it because it's poor quality and woke, oh, well, if you don't like She-Hulk, then you don't like women. We are remaking The Little Mermaid, and instead of making it about a hot white redhead, we're going to make it about some ugly black chick. Oh, you don't want to see a black Little Mermaid because you grew up with the white Little Mermaid and you feel like we've changed your character. Well, if you don't want to see a black mermaid on screen, then you are a racist. Anytime Disney or Marvel puts out anything new and people don't like it, it's you're racist, you're homophobic, you're anti-this, you're anti-that, you're a Nazi. They put out a Superman movie and they just said, it's about kindness, and some people aren't going to get that because they're not kind people. And no one can deny the fact that Disney and Marvel have gone completely woke in the last half decade. Why has Cooper not spoken about any of that? Why has Cooper not mentioned the fact that Superman has been an immigrant literally since his first comic book, in every movie adaptation, in every show adaptation, in Man of Steel and Justice League and Batman vs. Superman? Like, the whole reason why Batman and Superman were fighting was Batman was like, you're from another fucking planet. Why the fuck are you here? We have real world problems going on. Keep in mind, once again, this is a political podcast. That's why I listen to it, because she talks about stuff going on in politics. But she's attacking the Superman movie like all the liberals are. It almost makes you wonder, is Brett Cooper secretly a liberal going undercover as a conservative? Because that whole section about Superman, it was a fucking pathetic joke. And keep in mind what she said about James Gunn, like, oh, he posted about Nazis and pedophilia. Okay, well, what did he say about it exactly? Was he making a joke? Was he speaking against it? Did he say pedophilia or is wrong, or did he say, I support pedophilia? You can't assume that all your listeners are gonna go on X and scroll, because Superman came out in July? And this happened, I think, sometime between April and July. Do you really think we're all gonna go to X.com right now and scroll through all of James Gunn's posts to find out, okay, what did he say about the Nazis and the pedophiles, and why was it bad? These are all very logical questions to ask. And she focused more so on his brother Sean Gunn, who, according to that speech, it seems that he is for illegal immigration in America. Well, who knows, because he wasn't very specific on that. All he said was, we love our immigrants. There are immigrants here in America, but they are here legally. There is a difference between immigrants that are here legally and immigrants that are here illegally. So Sean Gunn himself didn't really add much context to that speech. And I feel like Cooper is assuming things and she's exaggerating things to try and make a point that she still has not made. All I hear is her rambling and complaining, and she's still not making a point. And she can't make a point because she doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. Gotta be honest with you, I think she just made this episode for clickbait. And she wants to, listen, there is nothing that I hate more than a person that absolutely worships celebrities like they're God or something. Like, you won't text your friends happy birthday. You won't show support to someone trying to start a small business. But you'll wish Olivia Rodrigo a happy birthday. Olivia Rodrigo doesn't even know you exist. The fuck? There are thousands of people wishing her, bro. Fucking MTV just put out a video saying happy birthday. They actually just recently put out a video saying happy birthday, happy 23rd birthday to Jenna Ortega. Literal people who care more so about these celebrities and their own friends. And it looks like Brett Cooper's one of them. I mean, I know she's into pop culture. I'm not into pop culture. I'm into politics. That's why I listen to her podcast. I skip the pop culture episodes unless they have something to do with politics. So now she's focusing on Sean Gunn and going, oh, I grew up with him on Gilmore Girls, so this was so painful to watch. Don't you have a husband? Why are you so obsessed with another man that you don't even know, that you are personally affected by what he says at his brother's movie premiere? What is wrong with you? She was pregnant when she released this episode. Shouldn't she be more concerned about taking care of her baby than, oh, Superman's an immigrant, Superman's an immigrant? Okay, so don't watch the fucking movie. And there's a major difference between an illegal immigrant like Superman versus illegal immigrants coming into our country in real life. One is Superman is a fictional character. Illegal immigrants are coming into the real world. Two, Superman's planet blew up. We can't kick him out because he's more powerful than all of us. And we would have nowhere to send him because there is nowhere to send him to. And my final note on this is the fact that Superman actively does good. In this movie alone, he stopped a war, while the real life illegals that are coming into our country, they are raping people, killing people, stealing, and committing all these heinous crimes, which is why there's illegal and an illegal way to come into this country, and which is why it's not easy to become a U.S. citizen if you are not born here. Because they want to make sure that you're not going to do those things. It's a safety measure. Superman fights the kind of people that invade other countries and rape and kill people. So it's much easier for us to like an immigrant like Superman who goes out of his way to do good no matter what, versus immigrants that break into our country and start raping women and children. I think Cooper needs to stick to what she knows, which is pop culture and politics. I think she needs to stay out of movies, more specifically comic book movies, because listen, if you don't know who the fuck Poison Ivy is, then you clearly don't know anything about DC, or at least you don't know enough to be fucking talking about it. Shut the fuck up, you thunder cunt fur brain, get on your knees and suck my balls. And my final note before I move on to the next chapter of this podcast is her focusing so heavily on Sean Gunn. It's almost as if she didn't have enough bad things to say about James, so she said, okay, I'm going to trash his brother instead. They may be related, but Sean and James are not the same person. They're not the same person. Sean Gunn did not direct Superman. I disowned about 99% of my family. There are only a few family members that I sometimes talk to. One of which is my aunt, who is a Democrat. So her and I have complete opposite views, not just in politics, but in other subjects as well. And there are plenty of things that we do agree on. There are plenty of things that we disagree on. I wouldn't say that we've ever argued. We do debate sometimes for fun. I did bring her onto the podcast once to debate once. We sometimes debate for fun. We sometimes challenge each other's theories and ideas. But we've never actually fought. We don't get mad at each other. We accept that we have opposing views. And we still love each other at the end of the day. But the reason I bring this up is to bring up a point and say, I'm not my aunt and my aunt is not me. We are two completely different people. We're two different beings. Just because we share a bloodline does not mean we share a brain. All right? If my podcast goes global one day, I hold a conference or whatever, and I let my aunt give the opening speech, 5-minute opening speech. And she says something about, I don't know, let's just say she says something about the Democratic Party. And the whole audience is going, oh, Adonis is a Democrat. Did you hear that, everybody? Adonis is no longer Republican. He's a Democrat now. He's a Kamala supporter and a Biden supporter and Obama supporter. And when did I ever say any of those things? When did I say I supported Obama? Oh, well, your aunt said, I am not my aunt. So it's completely illogical for Brett Cooper to come on her podcast and say, oh, well, James Gunn is okay with illegal immigration because Sean Gunn said, first of all, Sean Gunn said we love our immigrants. He said nothing at all about illegal immigration. Secondly, Sean Gunn is not James Gunn. So shut the fuck up because you sound really fucking stupid right now. Overall, Superman is not a woke movie. It does not focus on the fact that Superman is an immigrant or that Superman accidentally got involved in politics or any of that sort. It really focuses on him being a good person. And I actually relate to it a lot because, to summarize the plot of the movie Superman, because Superman stopped a war, the people who he stopped were upset that he foiled their plans, and they decided to slander his name and make Superman look like someone that he is not. The public was easily convinced that despite the years of good that Superman had done, that Superman was a bad guy who was out to get them. Despite the hatred, Superman powered through it and dealt with his own problems, and at the end of the movie, they eventually expose who the real bad guys are, including Superman's arch rival Lex Luthor, who had been pulling most of the strings throughout the movie. And Superman shows everyone that your actions define who you are, not simply your words or what other people say about you or what other people think about you. One of the most inspirational scenes from this movie is Superman sitting outside with his father. And his father can tell that Superman is feeling down because, everyone hates him. Superman's dad said something that I think all parents need to hear.
Well, the message that my parents sent with me, I had never heard the second half before.
Well, I'd say what you wanted that message to mean says a whole lot more about you than what anyone meant for it to mean.
You don't understand. I'm not who I thought I was. They sent me here to hurt people.
Parents aren't for telling their children who they're supposed to be. We are here to give y'all tools, help you make fools of yourselves all on your own. Your choices, Clark, your actions, that's what makes you who you are. I'll tell you something, son. proud of you.
So, yeah, I think the movie is excellent because it shows Clark's character development. And after that speech, he ultimately realizes that it doesn't matter what the world thinks of you as long as you're doing what's right for you and you're standing up for what you believe in and you know that you're doing the right thing, even if other people believe rumors about you or people think that you're doing bad. And a big reason why I related to this movie, now yes, I'm not an alien with godly powers and whatnot, but I related to it a lot because I was once liked by almost everybody, and like Mr. Anonymous said in the beginning of this episode, I went from famous to infamous. Everyone likes me, and now everyone still hates me. And I don't let it weigh down on me, but there have been times when it has gotten to me. I mean, keep in mind, you only know what I want you to know. You only know what I put on this podcast and on the internet. Y'all might think that I expose a lot about myself, but I actually live a very private life. I pretty much only expose myself when I need to in order to expose other people, because exposing people is something that I do on this podcast. And a lot of times I think it requires me to also expose myself. But for the most part, I actually keep to myself, and there's a lot about my life that I do not talk about. I actually live a very private life. But I related to this movie a lot because, like Superman, everyone genuinely liked me. Then some fuckers came around, spread rumors about me, tried to take what I said out of context, tried to twist my words around and whatnot. People were trying to put me in jail and whatnot. And all this chaos happened. And even now, even after all the chaos has died down, people still think I'm the bad guy. I'm getting trespassed from so many places, I'm actually starting to lose track of where I can and cannot go. It's crazy to me how there are all these people who I've never even seen before, who have a problem with me, and then they won't even tell me what that problem is. Like Mr. Anonymous was saying at the beginning of the episode, I think he has a very good perspective on it because he knows me personally, but he's not someone who lives in College Town and he's not someone who's regularly involved in my life. So this is all kind of new to him. So he kind of was able to offer a fresh perspective, seeing it from both sides. I'm pretty much used to it now, but it seems that no matter what I do, I always run into bad luck and I always run into trouble. And by me simply not allowing people to push me around and whatnot, and for me stating my opinions on the internet and whatnot, that makes me a bad person, that makes me a bad guy. But I still power through it, and I ultimately learned myself that it doesn't matter what all these people think of me, because at the end of the day, no one really knows me like I know myself, or how my friends know me, or how my family knows me. I know that what I'm doing is right. I know that I'm not hurting anybody. I know that there are worse people out there. Example, we were also talking about this in the beginning of the episode. Sidhu, quite literally, tracked me down to my house. He somehow got my location and tracked my location from my phone, which, by the way, is illegal. Came to my house with 5 other dudes and straight up jumped me. Back then, I was liked, so everyone stood up for me. If he or someone else did that to me now, people would probably cheer him on. I'm also going to tell you right now that if someone tried to do that to me again today, I would quite literally shoot them in self-defense. They would not. I'm not as nice as I was back then. Back then, I went easier on people. Now, I don't show people mercy. Superman delivers quite a powerful speech at the end of the movie.
That is where you've always been wrong about me, Lex. I'm as human as anyone. I love, I get scared, I wake up every morning and despite not knowing what to do, I put one foot in front of the other and I try to make the best choices I can. I screw up all the time. But that is being human. And that's my greatest strength. And someday, I hope, for the sake of the world, you understand that it's yours too.
Oh, that's beautiful. But none of this matters, you patronizing clown. The government gave me the authority to kill you. If not today, then
That is one of the most powerful movie speeches I've heard in a while, and yeah, like I said, I cannot put into words how much I like this movie. Not only is it relatable and funny, but it develops a powerful message. They said in that article that Cooper was talking about on her podcast, it does send a message of being kind and compassionate to others. I feel like Superman, in a way, is kind of like Charlie Kirk. If I had to describe Charlie Kirk, I would say that he is the real-life Superman, personality-wise, because much like Superman, at least this version of Superman, Charlie Kirk had the power to not get angry at people, or at least he was very good at hiding it. And he was quite literally, as Superman is, the textbook definition of kill them with kindness. That is going to be my final note for today's episode. On a future episode, though, we're going to talk about James Gunn's other project, Peacemaker. We're currently in season 2, and in the last episode, Peacemaker ends up in an alternate reality where Nazis won World War II. So Nazis now rule the earth. The episode ends with a bunch of white guys chasing a black woman because people in this universe actually hate black people. There's actual real racism. I'm going to throw this in liberals' faces. I'm going to show them that clip, and I'm going to be like, listen, this is what real racism looks like when a black person simply walks outside and the entire neighborhood starts chasing her. But also, Peacemaker looks at the American flag, and where the stars should be, there is instead a swastika. And I am here for all of it. I completely 100% support it. If anything, I would say James Gunn is not going extreme enough. I want more of this. On Earth X, the Earth that has Nazis in the 21st century, and where there are no colored people roaming around the streets, I would like to point out that there are literally no problems there whatsoever. Like, there's no crime, there's no bad guys, like, everyone's living in harmony. Interesting. So here in the real world, we have blacks constantly causing crime. Matter of fact, a friend of mine got his bike stolen today. Brand new bike, bought it the other day, someone stole it. Any idea who it was? If you guessed that it was a black man, you are absolutely correct. It's just like Nick Fuentes said, Jews are running society, which I don't really care about that because I never listen to society anyway. Women, like Brett Cooper, need to shut the fuck up. And blacks, for the most part, should be in prison. And we want to live in fucking paradise. Alright, so stay tuned for the upcoming episode about Peacemaker.